Ru?
Hello, hello.
Hello, Ru.
Hello.
Ru.
We back?
Yeah, I think so. So I don't know. I was looking at the stream. It said it was healthy, and then it just like turned off for some reason.
Oh, that's strange. I got a redial button, but no worries. It's okay. Where did you lose me?
Okay. All right. Let me make sure. Okay. It says, all right. It says video. It says we're live again. So you know what? I'm recording the audio. You know, that backup. So in the event
Sure.
that it completely goes out, that's fine. I'll just go back, re-edit it, and bam, we'll just relive. All right. So you were saying, Ru, everybody, once again, sorry for that inconvenience there. You're listening again to Soda Party Network. We're speaking with Ru about virtual reality and the Beat Saber video sensation that's going craziness on the on fire on Facebook and everywhere. So yes, sir. Please, you were mentioning about like making outlines of like the furniture and such in the room.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, you there's this thing called chaperone. It keeps you safe. You draw an outline of the space that you can walk around, and then whenever you approach it, you'll get this laser grid that shows up in front of your face and basically says, "No, don't walk here. You're about to walk into a desk or something like that," right? And I was playing VR so much that it would actually interfere with my dreams. Like I would see that same boundary within my dreams, and I would like obey it. You know, I would stop going places because of this laser grid that kept showing up. So it's amazing. Like when you first try VR, it will do amazing things to your head. It's such a mind-blowing experience, and I've probably demoed it to 300 plus people myself over the last couple of years, just random people at events, people coming over to my house and everything, and I've not had a single person, legitimately, not a single person has walked away unimpressed.
Wow. So where do you go from here? I mean, it's a success. Bam, 50 millions of people checked it out. People want to have those claws of Wolverine. What's your answer to that? Your response?
Yeah. So in terms of like what the next video is going to be, you've already hinted at it. It's going to be those Wolverine claws. I've been working with some of the community members around Beat Saber, and they've been modifying the game. And we've been able to modify in these smaller sabers, meaning that they're harder to use, that come out of my wrist, out of my knuckles, just like Wolverine's claws do. And I've been training with those, and my word, it is like if you thought that first video was like physically impressive, this new one is gonna be another level. I have to take breaks after doing every single song because it's just so physically exhausting.
Man, that's quite a workout there.
In fact, I did a live stream earlier this week where I streamed for, what was it, 2 hours 15 minutes roughly, and I was wearing a heart rate monitor throughout the entire thing, and I burned 2,050 calories.
What? That's insane.
It's a ridiculous number. Like 2,000 calories. That's about 3 meals worth of calories.
Man, yeah, I mean, because you know, I'll call myself out. I could use I could lose those 2,000 pounds. Well, yeah, I'll say 2,000 pounds. I'm not too, but I mean, for the people, you know, I'm trying to lose weight myself, and I mean, people trying to lose weight and stuff. But that would be awesome. I mean, that's a good place to tap into. You know,
absolutely, and this is the beauty of it. Like, you know, I have all this fancy equipment with the green screen and everything, but as I was saying earlier, you don't need all that stuff to do this. And VR has completely broken regular gym going for me, completely, because dancing in VR and Beat Saber and all the other exercise games that are out there, because there are a lot, you know, you can get a really serious workout in. There are games that force you to squat repeatedly for points, and it feels great when you do well, and it feels bad when you do bad, so you're encouraged to do really well, which requires you to move your body and be physically active. And because of all this extra tracking too, we know that, you know, we know when you've done a squat, so it can reward you points based on that. And all of this stuff can be done at home, so that you don't even have to leave the house to actually get physically truly fit.
Wow. I mean, yeah, for real. I mean, you know, at your own time, your own privacy. You don't even have to spend any money at the gym. Gym's gonna go bankrupt. You know?
Yeah, the next generation of gamers, man, it's not going to be any kind of stereotype for, fat people being in chairs. You've seen the South Park episode where they go into World of Warcraft. It's going to be nothing like that in the future. Absolutely nothing like it.
Wow. Okay, you sold me on it. I'm sure you sold a lot of people. All right, the idea. Okay, so I'm a humble guy. I work a humble job. I like to do this. Where can I go and be a part of it and have it in my home?
So if you wanna get involved with the VR community and get your own setup, what you want to do is there are a couple of options available to you. If you've got a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 4 Pro, you can pick up the PSVR headset. This one is like the lowest barrier to entry. You need very little extra equipment. It's also very cheap. It's also quite good, and it has a lot of games for it. And then the next step up is something like the Oculus Rift or the original HTC Vive. You can also pick up something called a Windows Mixed Reality headset. Those are also quite cheap. And then later on, we're talking next generation now. We've got some seriously insane headsets coming out with all sorts of fancy extra peripherals and stuff like that. But if you're just looking to try it, you should look online. There's probably a VR arcade near you where you can at least go and try it out for the first time. And I highly recommend doing that. Get an hour with a VR headset and just try as many different things as you can. Find the thing that you like.
Wow. So you can pretty much go anywhere with this technology. It's kind of still at its infancy in that respect. For those that, for example, in the commercial aspect, what possibilities can you go with that with say for example in the medical field, for example?
Right. So with medical applications, there's such a wide degree of things that you can do here. So here's an example of one that I went and tried myself last year at the VR World event in London, Olympia, I think. It was a tool designed to increase the empathy of caregivers at hospitals. And essentially, you put the headset on and you're put into the body of an old man who is experiencing blind spots on their eyes. So in the headset, you can not see at certain angles. Like your eyes just cannot physically see. And the idea is to simulate what it's like to have a blind spot and how it can be really dangerous. And then on top of that, they have this lapse of attention where you kind of fade away from the scene that's playing out around you. You're at like a family birthday party, and you're distracted and your mind is wandering and you're seeing something completely different, and you reach out to touch some flowers that are being put in front of you, and suddenly you snap back to the real scene and you've knocked over a glass of water and you're just confused. You don't know what you've done. And it's an upsetting experience. You feel awful because it's you that's, actually felt it and experienced it. But that's just like on the empathy side. If you look at some other medical applications, you've got things like training. Imagine having a surgery take place in front of you in full 3D that you can walk around and inspect and even try yourself, but it's all virtual and it's not on real, people or cadavers or whatever.
Yeah. Wow. And then, so I imagine also for example, in court cases, do reenactments, I assume?
Yeah, absolutely. Like reenactments, you can use a technique called photogrammetry to capture a very high resolution 3D version of a real place and then place that in virtual reality, meaning that you could have somebody remotely inspect a real place, even if they're hundreds upon thousands of miles away.
Wow. I mean, it's you open every time Ru, when you answer the question, it adds an it's like, well, what about this? What about this? And then your response is like, well, I can go further, go crazy. Look. Like for example, I'll pick something out. Aerospace, NASA, for example. What applications could this be for space exploration?
Oh, now that is, you've picked a very good thing to talk about here. Now, Obviously, there are already tons of flight simulators that you can get. You can buy something called a HOTAS. I can't remember what it stands for, I'm afraid, but essentially it's like a throttle drive designed for flight simulators and space exploration simulators as well. And one particular game that stands out here is a game called Elite Dangerous, which has full VR support, and it's designed to be this hyper-realistic space exploration game, and it's just absolutely stunning in VR because, and this is the hardest part to get across over voice or video or any other kind of medium other than just putting the headset on, but you can perceive depth in VR. If somebody puts a soccer ball out in front of you, it looks like a soccer ball. You could put your real hands either side of it, and it would feel the same size as a real soccer ball, which also means that if you go into a space setting, planets look like the size of planets. And that's a perspective that you can't get anywhere on Earth. And it's honestly, like, it takes your breath away when you see it for the first time, like, legitimately. And that happens all the time in VR. It's like you'll be exploring a new area or a new medium or a new genre of game, and suddenly you'll just have to stop and appreciate what you've seen, because even though you've seen the tech and you know how it works and it's, yeah, right, it's old hat, you know everything about it, but still somebody can give you an experience that leaves you standing there mouth open.
Man. So okay. Another question also. Okay, so I'm looking on the graphics for particularly like Beat Saber, for example. Is the resolution? Is it going to be more like high def, ultra high def? What's going to happen there?
Well, so again, as always with these things, like it's early days, we have no idea what the end result is going to be. However, that said, Beat Saber is a great example of a game that doesn't need to be high fidelity to feel high fidelity. Beat Saber is made up of cubes and lines. That's literally it. Once you go into the game itself, you'll find out that the saber that you're holding is literally just a cuboid for the handle and a big old cuboid for the glowy bit. It's nothing more than that, but it doesn't need to be more than that because there's more to it. There's like particle effects and stuff like that. But if hyperrealism is what you're after, there are already examples out. I was talking about photogrammetry earlier. That's probably the easiest way to achieve photorealism, and you can get some truly mind-blowing like feelings of presence. There is a video online that I highly suggest that anybody interested in virtual reality watches, and it's called the Steam VR trailer. That's simply it. It's a video published by Valve, the company that helped create the HTC Vive, and it kind of shows you everything that VR has to offer, including high fidelity and low fidelity experiences. We've got a long way to go in terms of like mobile computing power and desktop computing power to make all of this accessible and cheap. But what you can get now is already just crazy, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And it's going to be fast too. Wow. Okay. Once again, everybody, this is Pablo, Soda Party Network. We're speaking with Ru. He is the CTO for Live. For those who are not familiar with CTO, what is your objective there? What do you do?
Yeah, so CTO just means Chief Technology Officer. I generally day to day I'll be obviously building tech and product, but also I'll be overseeing things like where the overall timeline of product goes for the company. And I know that's all a little bit wanky and whatever, but essentially it just means that I deal with all the tech in the company. I decide what we build next, and I make sure that everybody's working together towards that same goal and that sort of thing.
You know, when I saw that, I was like, "Wow! I mean, this guy, this guy's a brain. He knows what he's talking about." Wow. So, so a little bit of background. What got you into virtual reality and trying to like understand it more? I mean, because it's like an entity. It's like the eighth world wonder.
Yeah, honest to God, it feels like that. And like I've always said that virtual reality for me is the closest I've ever felt to living in the future, and I still stand by that. Like I'm probably 3 years in being exposed to virtual reality, and I still feel that way. And I did basically from day one. And day one, I just started a new job, and they had early access to some VR headsets, the Oculus DK2, and I asked if I could borrow one, and they said, yeah, sure, as long as you bring it back. And so I took it home, I set it up, and I got into a social experience called Alt Space. And essentially, it's really simple. You've all heard of like Second Life, which is this online chat room where you can create your own persona and talk to other people. And it doesn't seem like much else, but there is a lot to it, of course. This is like the bare bones version of that. It's essentially just an instant messenger in virtual reality. But the difference is, because you're talking to other physical humans and you can see their head motions, it feels a whole lot more visceral, and it feels like you're actually socially engaging with other people. Except you're not really making eye contact with them, you're making eye contact with a cartoon robot. And that was like I think I spent, after trying that for the first time, I think I spent the next 3 or 4 weeks coming home from work and putting a VR headset on and then hanging out in a virtual space. We would go explore a maze or play disc golf together. And I'm not even joking, we would play disc golf together. And that would be what I did in the evenings for several weeks. And from there, I was just like, right, I need more of this. I need to know more about this, and I need to get on it. And it's just kind of escalated from there. I've been trying to get hold of every bit of hardware I can, and yeah, it's been one hell of a ride.
Man. So, I mean, wow. So, for example, archaeologists, they're trying to find, go through the jungles and such like that. They can map it out. What advantage with this technology that archaeologists can use to find and discover new things?
So that's an interesting one. I think that one's actually kind of a tough one, because virtual reality works best if you're trying to visualize some kind of information that otherwise is abstract. So say, for example, a geophys. In archaeology, you can. I don't know the details of how it works, so I apologize for anybody who's listening to this and is like, "No, man, you're wrong." But essentially, my understanding of a geophys is that it reports on the density of materials underneath the Earth. So if you can cross-reference that data with like a map of whatever you're looking at, and then see that in 3 dimensions inside virtual reality, as opposed to trying to make sense of, 2D bits of paper or things that you're seeing on a screen without having the full context of what's going on, it just gives you another perspective of the same information, but in a way that's more natural for your body to kind of, or for your head to kind of digest and perceive, just because it's different.
Yeah, definitely. Man. I mean, because we can go anywhere with that. I mean, like, architects, they could say like, okay, this is going to be, this high, it's going to be like this shape.
Oh yeah. Like architects particularly are already getting crazy excited about this. Interior designers are getting crazy excited about this. Like I was saying, like everything is true to life scale. So if you define something to be, 1.6 meters high, and then go into virtual reality, it's going to be 1.6 meters high, and it's going to feel 1.6 meters high. You've seen all the funny like VR videos of people leaning on virtual pool tables and stuff like that and then falling over. That's because it feels real when you're in there. You forget that it's not real. So like the ability to take somebody and put them in something that you've designed and say, is this the interior design that you like? And then they can change it and then have exactly what they want and experience it before they've even stepped foot into the real place.
Yeah, if you hear me typing, by the way, I'm promoting it as well, sending it out. So
sure.
But yeah, I got you. So man, what's great is that in the education system, for example, to kind of like add to the architecture, for those who want to see it, like exams, they say, okay, build this, and then this is what I have, and then the teacher or other companies, construction companies, will be able, or investors or whatever, they'll be able to say, yeah, hey, that's the one I want.
Exactly, and yeah, it's I mean, it's early days right now. The whole thing with VR and where it is and where the industry is as a whole is it feels very much like the early days of the internet would have, where everybody's kind of trying to find their own way. Everybody cares very deeply about it, and everybody's very, very passionate and direct with what they want to do and what they're trying to explore. And some of it may fail, some of it may turn out to be completely pointless or gimmicky, but this is the point where we're still kind of learning what the limits are, and there's still a long way to go, and we haven't worked everything out yet.
So how many are on the team?
So at Live, we've got 7 people right now, and I believe we've got an intern joining us, or like officially joining us very soon as well. So we've got 6 Live. He's our CEO and one of the founders. We've also got AJ Shoki, or Dr. Doom, and he is the other co-founder. We've also got a couple of engineers. We've got Leon and Mystery, as well as Swan, who is the Beat Saber girl, which you may have also seen. She's blown up as well. And then we've also got Watts. So very small team. It's just a lot of us, and we're trying our best to keep up with all the inbound.
So, wow. Hey, everybody. Once again, this is Pablo, Soda Party Network. We are speaking with Ru. Those, I mean, who are on Facebook, I mean, who has not seen these videos? I mean, you see them like 18 million here views, 55 million views. It is insane. So, sir, okay, so you did that. You're doing your thing, and then bam, bam, you uploaded it. What happened?
Yeah. So I mean, I heard the song in Beat Saber. I was looking for custom songs, and I was downloading stuff, and I was trying it all out, and I found Cascade, Never Sleep Alone, and I tried it out, and I was just like, you've seen the slow build up at the start of the video, and then it drops, right? That first drop, and I was playing it for the first time, I was like, oh, okay, I think I've just found my next favorite map to play. And I played it like 3 or 4 times in a row. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I need to film this. And so I did, uploaded it, hoped a couple of people would like it. And then a couple of days later, it's got a couple of 100,000 views, and I'm like, okay, this has gotten bigger than I thought it would. And I start getting messages from people who would like to repost it and stuff like that. And that seems pretty standard whenever something goes semi-viral like this. But I'm not precious about the content itself. I just want people to see it. I think it's interesting to watch myself, so I try and get other people to watch it. And so I just let that spread wide, and it's blown up bigger on Facebook and Instagram than I could ever have hoped.
Wow. So it was organic, right? Or did you put like hashtags and promote it, or?
No. I mean, I mentioned Cascade when I tweeted out that the video had been pushed, but like I've spent nothing on this, and I didn't intend for it to go viral either. I just put it up because I thought my community would find it interesting. Because I don't usually make YouTube videos. It's I've only started doing that since the Beat Saber stuff started blowing up, and putting out videos for people to watch offline. Usually I'm live streaming, and I'm doing my thing live for people to come and watch, and it's just completely unintentional. I've barely put any work into it. I almost feel kind of bad. I got very lucky, I feel. But it's just so hard to process, and it's still like that now.
Man, I mean, your videos like more popular than some of the memes out there, like cat videos and such.
Oh god, it's so insane. And this is where I get like kind of excited for what the future holds, because the whole basis of what we're doing at Live, and the reason why I care about it so much, is for exactly the reason why that video got popular. Because I believe that this content, this VR content, is the way to get people interested in VR. If I can get a single person to go out and buy a headset and try it for themselves, I've done my job. At the end of the day, I just want more VR stuff. Like, it's a very selfish want, but if I can make everybody else out there feel at least a little of what I did when I actually put the headset on, I've done my job.
Yeah, I mean, you deserve an evening at the pub or something. Hey, celebration time. right? I think that's the only British thing I can say. A pub. Yeah. So speaking of pub, a little bit tangent. What any particular bubbly that you like to drink?
Oh, I'm very I'm a very very stereotypical British guy. I like my cider. Aspals in particular. I can't remember when I was in the States. I can't remember what I had to drink, but it was lovely. But it was a cider. It was maybe Summersby or something. God, I love the ciders.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
I would say Miller Lite.
Oh, you're a beer guy?
Well, for casual. I mean, if it's a meal, yeah, I'll go for that. But yeah. If for l'apéritif, I like to go with the rum.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My dad, his one of his relatives went to Barbados, came back with a rum. It was like the shape of a sailor. It was awesome, and then he kept it there in his cellar for like 12 years.
Oh no!
And no, for real, it aged well, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like fire.
Have you got any left? Are you taking it slowly?
Yeah, taking it slowly because I mean, it's yeah, I gotta savor it.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when I pour it, I lick the side and I'm like, I gotta keep that. So, okay. So, for kind of step aside from virtual reality, when you're not doing virtual reality, those type of things.
Have I lost you?
Sir? Hello?
I think I lost you.
Shoot,
is it died again?
I'm still here. Hello?
Oh, I hope not.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Hello?
Okay. I sent you. You still there? Sorry, everybody.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Let me just rejoin the call here.
Okay. All right, everybody. This is Pablo, Soda Party Network. We are speaking with. Okay. Hello, Rue. Rue.
Apologies about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you clearly.
Lovely stuff.
Yes, sir. Sorry, everybody, for that drop off there. Things are going crazy. I guess we're talking about too much of the virtual reality. The reality is kicking in.
Yeah, we're clogging up the pipes.
The Matrix is mad, my friend. So yes, sir. My question was, when you're not focusing on virtual reality, when you kind of like turn it down and stuff, what do you like to do that might surprise I don't know, your friends?
So, that's a good question.
Without getting too personal.
Without getting too personal. Well, okay. So no bedroom talk, right?
No. All
okay,
ages
good.
show, my friend. All ages show.
So, I guess in my free time, I play with a lot of things to do with music. I'm very much I'm not a musician in any way. I don't formally know any instruments, but I am very much interested in it, and obviously that's why I play rhythm games and stuff like that. But I'll tinker around with music visualizers. So how in Windows Media Player you had the pretty art that would react to the music, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of take pleasure in making my own music visualizers, and I like playing different kinds of music through them and seeing the results I get. And I like playing around with something called oscilloscope music, which, by the way, you should totally check out. It sounds really lame, but actually, no, it's not. It's super cool, and you should go check it out.
Wow.
I wish I could explain it, but there are people out there way smarter than I am that do a way better job of explaining what it is.
Interesting. Hey, Rue, I have a friend here that's he's a bit curious about some of the questions about virtual reality. Let me bring him in, see if I can bring him in. Okay. Let me bring him in here. Okay. All right. Okay. See if he picks up here.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, he's in the Philippines. He's my friend. He was living here in America and then he moved back. Hello, Jeffrey. Jeffrey? Jeff. Hello.
Hello?
Hello,
Hello?
Jeff. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Jeff.
Yeah, I think I'm having bad signal here right now.
Oh,
Hello?
okay.
Yeah,
How you doing, Jeff?
hey, how are you? Hey, did you
I'm doing
invent
well,
VR
thanks.
or something?
Yes, sir. Let me go ahead and mention to you, Jeff. We're live. We're speaking with Rue. He is
Awesome.
the internet sensation of the Beat Saber. He knows everything about virtual reality from A to Z. Did you have a question for
Wow.
him, sir?
Oh yeah. So how does it feel? I mean, how would it feel if you're like gonna do a cliff jumping on a VR or something like that?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. Okay, so it's the short story is it's really intense. It's quite possibly one of the weirdest feelings you'll ever feel, and it can be straight up terrifying if you're not expecting it. There's a game called Richie's Plank Experience where essentially what you do is you walk into a lift, press a button, you go up the lift, and when the lift opens, there's nothing in front of you. You're at the top of a skyscraper, and there is just a plank of wood out in front of you. And you wouldn't think it'd be that scary, you know. You're still standing on real solid ground, you know, your house. But
Okay.
as you walk out
So
towards the end of the plank, you're encouraged to jump off, and when you do, you go soaring down, and you feel nothing. You know, you're just soaring down, and you're not that surprised. But when the ground rushes up to meet you, whether or not you want to, and I've tried this on many different people, your entire body tenses up, and it is such an intense, like, your body just
awesome.
locks up, everything prepares for impact, and then you just don't feel anything.
So you would recommend it for guys who are afraid of heights in reality, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Like you can look down off of a surface in virtual reality and see exactly how high up it is. I'm not that strong with heights, but I love doing that stuff in virtual reality because it kind of makes me feel a little bit more confident around it, you know?
Good man. Hey, can I do VR using desktop computer? And do you guys have like the $35 gadget where you just put it in the head, plug it into my desktop computer, and then give it a go?
I wish we were at that point. I wish we were at that point because that
Yeah.
would make getting more people into VR way easier. But unfortunately, you're going to need a gaming PC, something with a graphics card that's as powerful or more powerful than the NVIDIA GTX 970, which can
Wow,
be
it's
quite
like
expensive because of
yeah.
Bitcoin miners and all sorts of other stuff that's going on in the market right now. But over the next couple of
Oh
years,
yeah.
there's going to be a bunch of new headsets coming out that are cheaper.
Yeah, I hope so. Because the only thing where I could avail VRs, I think, are at the malls or game rooms or something like that, right?
That's right. Yeah, you can find malls that have it, and there are a few arcades in America as well that you can go visit.
Awesome. But Jeffrey, thanks for calling in, for being on the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
And yeah, stay cool, Reese.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey.
Take care, Jeff. Bye bye. All right. So, I mean, wow, cliff jumping. I mean, you know, I never thought about that, like, or like skydiving, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And there's actually you know how Iron Man's boosters work?
Yeah.
You know where he uses his hands?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's actually there are VR experiences that basically simulate that. They will put thrusters on the palms of your hands, so you have to fly like Iron Man flies. And
What?
let me tell you, that's another experience as well. And there's like every now and again a new experience will come out, and I'll try it. And again, like I said before, you're left with your mouth hanging open. And like, if I can, I'd love to talk about a hack you can do to screw with your body's reflexes.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Right. So you know how when you jump, right, your knees bend in anticipation of you coming back down and hitting the ground, right?
Yes.
Right. And I bet you, no matter how hard you try, you can't turn that reflex off. So in virtual reality, you can turn that reflex off because your brain is relying on several signals in order to actually tense your body up and prepare for impact. And one of those is of course sight. And so if you make it if you fool the brain into thinking that it's still in the air, it doesn't brace for impact. So there's a game out there called Windlands. It's a very cool game, by the way. It's like a rope swinging exploration game, but the important thing is that it has a jump button. And what it does is it makes you physically jump inside the game, even though you're not jumping in real life. But if you jump at the same time as you do in the game's jump takes a lot longer for you to come back down. The gravity is less. So your body doesn't brace for the impact in the slightest, and you feel the shock of landing on the floor reverberate through your entire body. And you can suddenly appreciate all the work that your brain does for you when you jump. Like, you gain perspective on jumping. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay, so to kind of, I mean, man, we can go anywhere with this, but I want to go in the part of the brain, because like what you're saying, you can almost, like doctors or analysts, they can, neurologists, they can study the brain even more. Like, for example, PTSD for those who suffer that, right?
Exactly. And there's actually an experience I've tried that's designed to put somebody into a situation that might trigger a symptom of PTSD and is completely configurable from the outside. So say somebody is being guided through an experience and their particular trigger is, a landmine, for example. And this is something I've tried. Mm-hmm. They can tailor the experience that they have in there so that they're experiencing this thing in a safe space, and they can start to understand the deeper root causes of why that person experiences PTSD in the way they do.
Man, yeah, study after study, and then advance the technology. I mean, oh, wow. It's almost like the new internet kind of thing.
It truly is. And it's totally lame to say that the limits are just kind of completely undefined right now, mm-hmm. but it's absolutely true. It's just we don't know where else this is going to take us, and we're not even halfway finished to exploring it.
Do you think, because for back in the I don't know how old you are, but I was born when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. But when like VCRs came out, they're those monstrosities, and then now we can watch movies on our in our hands. So because you were mentioning about the type of strong computer, do you think eventually maybe an app might be, you just connected to the jack and then bam, you got the same type of resolution?
Yeah, actually. So what I was talking about earlier about 3DOF headsets, the headsets that I use, like the HTC Vive and the Rift, those are 6DOF because they also track position. That said, however, there are headsets you can buy, such as the Gear VR, which accept phones. So you can put a Samsung S7, S8, or S9 into this headset, and the phone will enter a special mode where it's actually rendering virtual reality for you. And that's 3DOF in that it doesn't track position, which makes it perfect for watching things like 3D films or just like 360 video and stuff like that, where you want to be fully immersed, but you don't necessarily care about walking around.
Man.
And you can buy that now.
Yeah.
That's been available for a year or two.
Yeah.
And then there's the Oculus Go, which doesn't even need a phone. It's literally just a headset that you can take with you.
That's amazing. So okay, so like integration, like for example, vehicles, automobiles. Say for example, those that are learning how to like drive a rig, those delivery giant trucks, 18-wheelers. What application could those guys have in like their training, for example?
Oh, it's absolutely all about training, things like mechanical failures and stuff like that, and how to deal with them. One of the things that VR in its current state excels at is the ability to be extremely accurate. The controllers that I use when I'm in my HTC Vive, they are accurate to about 1 millimeter, which means you can use them to measure distances, but it also means that you can use them to complete very fine-grained activities. And there are things on the horizon that allow you to track your hands in such a way that you can interact with objects without even holding anything. So say, for example, you want to throw a ball, you physically pick up a ball, and then you throw it by completely letting go of your hand, but there's like nothing to let go of. You're not throwing a controller across the room. Your fingers are being tracked in 3D space. So for truck drivers, people, anybody like operating any size machinery or anything like that, maintenance training and just training in general, being able to drive routes without actually leaving a training facility, all of that is possible.
Man, you know what just jumped in my mind was, for example, I'm sure you may have seen it because I mean it's just an awesome movie, Pacific Rim.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I mean, who knows where it goes in 20 years, 30 years? Because I mean, that was kind of like in a way virtual reality in a sense, because they were the brain. Do you think maybe in the future there might be instead of like forklifts, there might be actual giant robots? All you do is just because you do all the testing with the modeling and 3D rendering. With the virtual reality, you'll have more of a realistic prototype, wouldn't you say? Or what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of routes you can go down on that. If you look at Boston Dynamics, they're a company that are trying to work towards industrial bipedal and quadruped robots that can autonomously navigate certain areas and things like that. And there's absolutely no reason why those can't be piloted remotely by somebody wearing a VR headset or even an augmented reality headset. It'd be very interesting to see like a truly giant robot being carried out to do this. And I think it's very much going to be a case of like, you know how in the past, retrofuturism, where they have this idea of what the future is going to look like. And then when the future comes around, it tends to be what we perceive as more boring, but they would perceive as absolutely insane.
Yes.
How like in Star Trek they have this wall that is just covered in blinking lights and it's just a massive computer, whereas now we just have phones that look like pieces of glass in our hands, and that's more powerful than that ever could have been. I think we'll see the same thing when it comes to these kinds of things, where we'll use our imagination and we'll be like, this is the possibility, but when it comes round it'll be kind of sneaky and we won't see it as being as impressive as we want it to be.
Man, I mean, and then fine tuning, when things get fine tuned, and then they add in some extra features that maybe that people haven't even thought of. But I mean, The technology is definitely advancing. Once again, everybody, this is Pablo, Soda Party Network. We are speaking with Ru, the gentleman that you may have seen him on Facebook, Beat Saber. Be sure to check out his social media platforms. Where can people find you on social media, sir?
So you can either follow my Ruirize account, which is Ruirize on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the places. The name exists everywhere. Or if you want to follow any of my personal stuff, that's Stefan Donnell, Steffandonal, and that's the same thing everywhere else.
Awesome. And then for the company that you're associated with?
That's right. If you want to learn a little bit more about Live and what we do there, you can go to liv.tv. Come check us out. If you've got a virtual reality headset or you're interested in doing any kind of filming like the stuff I was doing in my video, check it all out. The technology is actually free, and we will help you set it up. So please check it out.
Awesome. Once again, everybody, thank you very much for joining the podcast. If you like this podcast, be sure to give us a like, share, and subscribe. Also, follow our guest here, Ru, and his company as well that he's associated with. Give us a like, give us some support. There's no telling what virtual reality will do to our lives. It's going to be amazing. So, sir, Ru, it's been a pleasure having you on our show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been absolutely wonderful chatting VR with you.
Thanks. Cool. All right, everybody. Gonna sign out with some little bit of music here. And thanks again. We'll see y'all next time. And keep it real. And otherwise, if not, keep it virtual reality. All right. Peace out.